Today I'm gonna teach you how to tweak my game Ardaria to perfection. The game runs on UE 5.3, you have access to all variables, you have total control and freedom. But with great power comes great responsibility, which means that you can break everything. But I think about it, so let's dive in the basics. Let's go to the settings menu, and first thing is to locate the saved directory. This is the place where you can nuke everything, every change you made, and go back to factory settings. So in this folder you have two files, the player settings and the extra commands. If there is any problem, crash at booting and you cannot boot the game anymore, nuke those two files. Okay, now you have the basics, let's start a new game. Welcome in the world of Ardaria. We can close on the top right of the screen with P, you can open and close. So we have a lot of very detailed geometry, it's not alpha cards, and this can make a lot of issues with the temporal anti-aliasing. Same for the leaves, they are individual geometries thanks to Nanite. It's really a test, I'm not sure it's gonna be very efficient on every computer, but at least let's try. We can already see some issues, and mostly they are caused, in my opinion, with the upscaler method. So let's go back in the settings and let's go in graphics. And the first thing I like to do is to change the method from TSR, which is the native Unreal Engine upscaler, to DLSS. I can switch to DLSS because I have a NVIDIA RTX 2070. If you don't have an NVIDIA graphic card, you cannot use DLSS. But we want to see the result in real time. So let's click on the little eye on the top right of the screen, and the background of the settings gonna get transparent. So we can tweak the stuff, and we see like from TSR to DLSS to FSR and XESS. So it's pretty different technologies with different results. So basically what an upscaler does is to render the frame at a smaller ratio and then upscale it with AI machine learning technology. So the very interesting setting is the screen percentage. It's a very important setting. So for example 50%, it's gonna take my resolution full HD, render half of this, and then with the upscaler it's gonna go back to 180p. Okay, so let's see the DLSS and the upscaler settings. So it's any upscaler has some settings, and basically what it's gonna do is gonna mess up with the screen percentage ratio, but not everything reflects this. For example, the DLSS, if I move this from balance to ultra performance, you see it's gonna go to 33%, and if I go back to quality, it's gonna change this to 66%. And let's see the result in real time. So this is very blurry because it renders like 33%, it's like 480p, something like this, upscaled to 1080s. If it's not working, if you select ultra quality but it's switched back to quality, it's because it's not supported on your hardware. Then you have the TIA settings, and if you find the very good settings, drop them in the comments and I will make them the default. Now you have access to some extra features just for you, the people who love to tweak and tinker the engine. Let's go back to the debug. You have access to a very specific section which probably does not exist in any game. You can add any command to the engine. Usually on Unreal Engine 5 or Unreal Engine, you're gonna tweak the engine.ini file, but sometimes it's overridden, it's not very convenient, you don't know how it's loaded in the setting cycle. So here, what I did is every command that you add right here, it's gonna just override everything. You also have access to all the command variables of the engine in a web browser. You can see all the variables, you can filter, like for example, if you want AA, takes a little bit of time. So Fidelity FX is the FSR, as you can see. Let's add a new console variable. For example, if you want to have XESS auto exposure to 0. So let's say I want to set it to 0. I just have to add this line, and when I lose the focus of the input, hopla, it's gonna be changed. Tac tac tac, auto exposure 0. If you add a lot of stuff and if you want to reset, you will have to restart the engine, because I don't know all the default values of every variables. I don't track them. You just reset and then you close and restart the engine. One last thing, there is a day-night cycle in Ardaria, and we change a lot of light settings during the cycle. If you want to test your settings in every lighting setup, you just have to disable the day-night cycle, and you can use those buttons to increase the values or decrease. 1 day is 20 minutes. The last thing you might want to do is to activate the fast travel and disable the spawn foliage. Let me show you what it does. Let's quit the world and let's start a new game. It's just gonna make instant traveling to the surface of the planet, which is very convenient if you want to build stuff. So let's just me show you what you can do in the game. Basically, you can build everything and you will be able to export everything as a schematic. If you want to learn more about the game, watch the tutorial, which will be the next video in the playlist or in the first comment. I hope you find the very best settings so we can make them the default. Drop them in the comments. Happy building!